The story begins with Ryota, who finds himself unconscious after being reincarnated, with no understanding of how he ended up in that place. As his awareness gradually returns, a girl named Emily appears before him and cautiously tries to wake him. In those first moments, she misjudges his identity and mistakes him for a slime. Overcome with fear, she runs away, only to stop once she realizes he is actually human. She returns and apologizes, then explains that when slimes are defeated, they drop bean sprouts. She asks him to stand still and watch her while she works. When a slime approaches them, Emily attempts to attack it but fails. Ryota steps in and manages to weaken the slime. However, the creature quickly regains its strength, prompting Ryota to finish it off with a hammer. Upon its defeat, bean sprouts drop, and Ryota praises Emily for her effort. After that, Emily tells him that slimes only drop bean sprouts in level 1 of the dungeon. She explains that she is weak and unable to advance to a higher level, though she believes that raising her own level slightly might allow her to reach level 2. Ryota is confused by this and asks her where these levels exist, but she admits that she knows nothing beyond the world she lives in. The two continue traveling together. Emily keeps defeating slimes, while Ryota notices that she can only perceive her own personal progression, with no awareness of any changes affecting the monsters themselves. She then shows him her status board, explaining that she has reached level 3 and that her strength is classified as rank C. She also presents another panel displaying what can be extracted from animals and plants, noting that the results improve as one's level increases. At that point, Ryota checks his own status device and discovers that his level is extremely low, still at level 1. Moreover, his extraction from plants produces nothing at all due to him being classified as rank S, a system entirely different from what he knew in his previous world. Emily hands him a large hammer, but he can barely lift it. She then gives him a lightweight spear called Gershon, which he finds much easier to use. Ryota proceeds to attack a blue slime, and after several attempts, he successfully defeats it. The amount of extraction dropped is enormous, leaving Emily utterly astonished. At that moment, Ryota realizes that rank S is higher than rank A. Later, Ryota feels hungry, and Emily prepares fresh and delicious food for him, including bean sprout soup. The taste surprises him and brings back memories of his previous life, where he worked an exhausting job that severely affected his health. In the end, it is revealed that Ryota had been hospitalized in his previous life, where he received treatment and nutritional supplements to recover. He stayed there for several days, firmly believing that he needed to work even harder to make up for the hours he had lost. However, when he awoke, he found himself in this strange place as a result of slime extraction. His former life had been unbearably harsh, and he had been unable to accomplish anything of real value. Emily embraces Ryota and tells him that every person has their own destiny. She advises him to be creative in his work and to pursue his dreams, explaining that success lies in God's hands, not solely in human effort. Deeply moved by her words, Ryota breaks down in tears, then asks her if there is a place where he could settle down. She tells him about a nearby country with many affordable residences. Intending to search for housing in the neighboring city, Ryota is given a magic staff by Emily, who understands that things would be difficult for him without a weapon. Ryota promises to return the staff later, while she tells him that she will remain at level 1 in Tulal. The next day, Ryota arrives in the city and begins to understand how life there works. The currency is called Po. Bean sprouts are priced at 200, a bedroom costs 2,000, and food costs 500. After learning the prices, he decides to work harder and hunt slimes to advance to the next level. After 3 days, he gathers a small amount of money and goes to Emily, bringing her to the house he rented. She is overjoyed, even though the apartment is old, 87 years in age, and has a monthly rent of 20,000. Ryota hands her the key and tells her that he will cover the rent. She initially refuses, but he insists, calling it a token of gratitude for the bean sprout soup she made for him. Tears fill her eyes, and Ryota notices how exhausted she looks from overworking, but he deliberately changes the subject. The following day, Ryota heads to the Adventurers Guild and speaks with a clerk to sell some items. After calculations, the total comes to about 1967, nearly 2,000. He then decides to attempt level 2 of Tolio, and the merchant informs him that the monsters on that level drop carrots. She also tells him about a new shop that sells strange drinks. Afterward, Ryota returns to the home he rented for Emily. When he opens the door, he is shocked by how clean and well organized the apartment is. He thanks her, explaining that this level of cleanliness far exceeds anything he had imagined. Emily explains that this is the first time she has ever cleaned an apartment, which is why she put so much care into it. She then gives him a warm towel, and when he places it over his eyes, he feels an incredibly soothing sensation. She prepares tea for him, filling Ryota with happiness and gratitude. He tells her that she doesn't need to do all this, and advises her to rest, as she looks tired. She replies that she is happy doing these things in her home, and does not feel exhausted at all. Ryota tells her that he heard about a new dungeon called Neon Honium, Emily is surprised since he is still at level 1, but he explains that his HP has increased. When they open the status screen, they both notice that his HP has risen dramatically. Emily is astonished, as she has never heard of someone being strong without a classification. At that point, Ryota realizes that the dungeon only enhances stats for those who are rank S. At that time, Ryota was greatly enjoying the food that Emily had prepared. During their conversation, he explained that after defeating a large number of neon-honium monsters, his HP had reached the maximum limit for rank S, and that he intended to head to the second floor of Tolo. Emily immediately advised him not to rush recklessly, emphasizing that he was always impulsive, something she had noticed ever since the day they rented the apartment together. For the first time, Ryota felt genuine exhaustion. His thoughts drifted back to his past, and he told Emily that no one had ever worried about him before. He then reassured her that he would return before midnight. After that, he engaged in combat with a slime. The slime attacked him several times, but the impact of its blows was weak, allowing Ryota to defeat it and extract a large carrot. Soon after, another slime appeared. He defeated it as well, extracting a smaller carrot. As he continued forward, Ryota encountered a group of people. One of them mocked him for being a beginner still stuck at level 1, warning him to return to the first floor if he did not want to die. At that moment, a beautiful girl with rabbit-like ears appeared and asked Ryota about his level. When he confirmed that he was level 1, she slapped him across the face, openly despising low-level adventurers, and then left without another word. Later, Ryota returned home and presented Emily with a bundle of carrots. He told her that he had sold them for 8,000, and that if he repeated this every month, he could earn 240,000. Emily was shocked and overjoyed, declaring that she would prepare a special dish using carrots. Suddenly, the same rabbit-eared girl appeared again and slapped Ryota once more, then unexpectedly confessed that she loved him. Both Ryota and Emily were left completely stunned. The rabbit-eared girl pulled out the carrot that had dropped from Ryota inside the dungeon and said that she wanted carrots like that again. Emily invited her to join them for a meal, then prepared carrot noodles, a sauce made from carrot leaves and bean sprout and carrot soup. The rabbit girl expressed overwhelming admiration for the food, and Ryota agreed, stating that Emily's cooking was truly exceptional. After finishing the meal, the girl left and Emily invited her to visit again. Ryota thanked Emily, and she told him that she was happy to have him and the guest with her, since before he arrived, she always ate alone. The scene then shifts to Ryota on the second floor of Neonium, where he encounters a zombie. During the battle, his spear breaks, forcing him to fight with his bare hands. He feels disgusted and wishes he had a long-range weapon. After some time, he manages to defeat the zombie, which drops a seed. Ryota is puzzled at first, but then discovers that the seed increases his strength by 1 point. The rabbit-eared girl arrives and asks him about the box. Ryota realizes that because he is rank S, he receives stat increases, and he decides not to tell anyone about it. She then asks whether he has any carrots, threatening that if he does not bring carrots, he will die. She adds that they need to go to Tololo, since carrots cannot be obtained here. Ryota tells her that they will go later, and asks her to wait for him. Taking the carrots with him, Ryota leaves, feeling that killing slimes has become much easier now that his power has risen from rank F to rank D. When he approaches the rabbit girl, he hands her a carrot. Everyone around is shocked that he possesses carrots, but the girl does not care at all, consumed by her obsession with them. Uza asks Ryota if he knows who she is. He replies that he merely gave her some carrots, which is why she fell for him. Uza then explains that she will buy the carrots at double the price. She goes on to reveal that the rabbit girl is Eve Callis, the leader of Eve Callis, and that her rabbit ears are her signature mark as an adventurer. Her finishing blow is powerful enough to split a rock in half, and she is infamous for her extreme obsession with carrots. Any carrot she approves of sells for a huge price. Ryota receives 15,000 for a single carrot, and realizes that he could earn 45,000 per month. Ryota promises Eve that he will bring her more carrots the next day. She tries to strike him again, but he stops her, astonishing everyone present. The scene then returns to Ryota and Emily in Tololo. That day, Ryota goes out to search for more slimes and notices a group of adventurers fighting one. Their leader finishes the battle while encouraging and training them with his words, reminding Ryota of his former boss, who used the same approach. Emily asks Ryota if something is bothering him, but he denies it, and the two head out for lunch. At that time, Eve arrives, and Emily offers her a carrot. Eve feels special, while Ryota enjoys the meal. The leader returns and reminds his team that laziness is unacceptable inside the dungeon, and that fatigue and effort directly affect the quality of drop boxes. After that, Eve distributes the carrots gathered by Ryota among the adventurers. They are astonished by the incredible taste, and she tells them that Ryota's carrots are the best, declaring that they stand no chance against Eve. In the end, the leader and his team leave. Ryota thanks Eve for what she did, and she asks him to bring her more carrots the following day. After that, the scene returns to Ryota and Emily in Tololo, where Ryota heads out in search of more slimes. Along the way, a loud noise echoes through the area. People begin to run in fear as a monster attacks. The creature turns out to be a massive gorilla. Ryota steps in to save Uza, Eve, and several adventurers. With a single strike of his bare hand, he defeats the monster instantly. The crowd realizes what happened and thanks him, while Ryota experiences a new sensation, one he has never felt before. The surprise comes when the gorilla leaves behind an extremely rare drop, a firearm and ammunition from Suda's original world. Ryota is bewildered, but he takes the weapon and decides to use it, entering Neonium Dungeon. Upon checking his stats, he finds that his strength has risen to rank C, while his HP remains at rank S, despite still being level 1. Even so, he clearly feels stronger. He returns to the second floor of the dungeon and encounters a zombie. He fires the gun and is shocked to see how effective it is against monsters. As more zombies appear, he notices that Suda's weapon boasts exceptional accuracy. However, he also realizes a major problem. He has no idea how to obtain additional ammunition. As a result, he decides to conserve his bullets. Ryota and Emily return to the slime dungeon, where Emily supports him in battle. He uses Suda's weapon to strike the slimes instead of risking Emily getting hurt. Afterward, they take a short break. Emily tells him that his weapon is incredibly powerful and that his strength has reached rank B. After dinner, they decide to explore the third floor, and Emily agrees to join him. On the way, they discover that the creature they intended to hunt is not a slime at all, but cockroaches. Suda feels intense disgust, while Emily activates dark mode. A black aura stronger than before envelops her as she begins smashing the ground and laughing in a terrifying manner. Suda feels fear creeping in and starts eliminating the cockroaches with gunfire, while Emily struggles to control herself. After some time, they manage to defeat them all. Emily returns to her normal state, pleased that Suda's pumpkin harvest is so abundant. However, the amount of pumpkin is far more than they can carry. Emily re-enters dark mode, fearing the cockroaches might return. Suda tries to calm her, but suddenly the pumpkin moves and rolls away. He remembers that Eve had requested carrots that day, prompting Emily to calm down and return to normal. Suda realizes that she had saved them. They carry the pumpkin outside and decide to sell it in multiple locations, noticing that animals have already eaten part of it. Later, Emily spots cockroaches inside the house and begins smashing the ground with her hammer, while Suda takes them out one by one, eventually regaining control of the situation. Emily apologizes, but Suda tells her that it is not her fault. After that, they hear the sound of items dropping to the ground and discover ammunition. Uza explains that monsters can appear if items are left in places without people, reminding Suda of what Emily had previously said about monsters. He apologizes to Emily for making her wait until the very last pumpkin, but she is not upset. In the end, Eve gives birth to offspring so she can eat carrots. She eats 9 carrots, one of which transforms into a slime. Suda shoots the slime, causing it to drop 10 bullets. Suda realizes that because he possesses an S-rank drop rate, he is the only one who can obtain drops from monsters. He considers creating a monster using stat-boosting seeds, but when he touches a seed, it disappears. He decides to return to Emily and continue focusing on farming drop boxes. Suddenly, a skeleton appears. Suda kicks it out of the dungeon, but it vanishes without leaving anything behind. He then goes to Uza to ask about it, and she explains that monsters disappear if they leave the dungeon or move to another floor. When another skeleton appears, he throws it outside the dungeon and strikes it mid-air. This time it drops loot. Suda realizes that defeating monsters outside the floor still counts, and he also obtains a freezing bullet. He tests it on a tree, which instantly turns into an ice crystal. After gathering more ammunition, he returns to the slime dungeon, now able to freeze slime so Emily can deliver the finishing blow. Emily is astonished by what he can do. Suda tells her that anything he hits will freeze, but adds that this type of bullet is rare and will only be used in emergencies. They spend the day collecting drops and return home at night. On the way back, they see 2 people arguing, and Emily notices a fallen cart loaded with monster remains. Suddenly, a monster called Femini appears, a bodiless entity that possesses people. Suda shoots it, causing it to drop loot, and a girl asks them to escape with an old man. Suda uses the freezing bullet, freezing the entire area. Then Emily leaps in and smashes everything with her hammer. The girl thanks them for saving her, and they return home. When they check Emily's status, they discover that she has jumped from rank 1 to rank 20 all at once, entirely thanks to Suda. Suda tries to joke about it, but they both feel that they share the same emotions. In the end, Ryota and Emily walk together when they suddenly stop in front of an extremely rare monster lying on the ground. Ryota aims his weapon and kills it instantly, shocking Emily, as it is the first time she has ever seen such a strange creature. Ryota picks up the drop and gives it to Emily. It resembles a necklace or a similar item. Emily is delighted with the gift, but Ryota later explains that the necklace doubles profits and increases the number of drop boxes from monsters. Emily feels conflicted. realizing that he did not give her the gift without a practical reason. While fighting some monsters later, Emily notices that the number of drop boxes has clearly increased. The next day, they return home, and Emily prepares food. When Ryota offers to help, she tells him she will finish soon. As they drink tea together, Ryota tells her that he wants to move to a better place, and that they need to save more money, even if that means not having a temporary home. When he asks her where she wants to live, she replies that a place becomes beautiful when the people living there are happy and accepting of their lives. That is why she wants to stay with him wherever he goes, even if they have no home. The following morning, Ryota heads to the guild and gives Emily some monster remains he obtained during combat. However, the guild clerk tells him she cannot determine their value. Suddenly, a girl wearing a blue cloak enters and asks for a piece. Ryota allows her to take one. She cuts it with astonishing speed and places it on a plate, leaving the guild clerk amazed by her agility. The moment she tastes it, she becomes overjoyed, having never eaten monster food prepared this way before. Her behavior is somewhat rude, surprising Ryota and the guild staff. She then asks to buy all of the food, and Ryota agrees. She grabs his hand, gives him the rank, bids him farewell, and leaves. When Ryota checks, he finds 20,000, a huge amount. When he asks about her, he is told that her name is Erika Missy, known as the daughter of the gourmet, someone who can spend everything she owns on food. After that, the guild clerk offers Ryota an important contract, explaining that bamboo will soon become a highly demanded material. She wants to register the selling rights under his name as Ryota Bamboo. Ryota considers the offer and realizes it is a good opportunity. She tells him to take it seriously, mentioning a separate signing bonus in addition to the bamboo's price. Ryota agrees to the contract and prepares himself to commit to it. At the same time, Ryota was making plans to hunt monsters and further increase his strength, expecting to reach rank S within just a few days. While wandering through the area, he came across a party fighting a skeleton led by a girl wielding a sharp sword. The monster's head was severed instantly, without any need for outside interference. One of the men warned Ryota not to step in, then explained that the girl was Princess Margaret, who greeted Ryota with a gentle smile. Ryota asked why no drops had fallen from the defeated monsters. The man replied that recent research had proven that monsters leave behind what is called air, which is collected into boxes and sold as a highly successful product on the market. Ryota noticed a magic cart nearby and wished he could buy one, but quickly abandoned the idea due to its high price. Ryota returned home and discussed the matter with Emily, feeling torn between purchasing a new house or buying a magic cart. Emily suggested that they buy the cart first, use it to generate profit, and then purchase a house later. Although hesitant, Ryota agreed, and he was deeply pleased by Emily's words about loving a simple life together with him. They decided to visit the magic cart shop the following day and meet Olga once again. The next day, they arrived at the shop and heard a child crying. They found young Olga in tears because her father had not returned. The girl explained that her father had gone to collect roses. Emily immediately stated that rose drops could be found in arsenic inside the Demiso dungeon. The three of them headed toward arsenic. At first, the monsters there were completely still, but they suddenly appeared and blocked the path. Ryota's weapon failed to affect one of the monsters, while Emily defeated it effortlessly, causing the monster to drop a large quantity of roses. Deep inside the area, they discovered Olga's father lying asleep, unharmed. Ryota tried to wake him, but failed, which angered Emily, until they realized that the man was simply sleeping. Emily woke him with a powerful blow, and he awoke in shock. The man explained that he had come to gather a heavy stone and a light stone to complete a magic cart, but he had been unable to obtain the light stone because of the monsters. Olga pointed toward a floating stone on the ceiling, explaining that the light stone was lighter than air. Ryota decided to help them obtain it. Ryota attempted to lift Emily so she could reach the flying monster, but he failed due to the weight of her hammer. Eventually, the monster was knocked down and transformed into a rose, which they carefully observed to understand its behavior. The rose returned to its original form, and the man tried to catch it, but failed. Ryota then used a freezing bullet, making the rose heavy enough to fall to the ground. They successfully obtained the light stone and returned to the shop. The man completed the magic cart and offered it to Ryota as a gift. Ryota initially refused, but the man explained that it was a reward for protecting the city in the past. Olga asked Ryota to take good care of the cart, insisting that it was a well-deserved reward. Ryota and Emily began using the magic cart to hunt bats and gather bamboo. A red indicator lit up, signaling that the cart was close to being full. Thanks to the cart, they managed to collect twice the usual amount of bamboo. Emily thanked Olga and Ordo for the cart. Finally, Ryota headed to Ursa's shop to sell the harvest, while Emily returned home to prepare dinner. At the same time, Ryota was inside Ursa's shop when an argument suddenly broke out between her and a man who accused her of lying about the price. Ryota had brought in a quantity of bamboo worth more than 10,000, yet the man demanded a payment of 20,000, while Ursa insisted that the correct calculation was only 8,400. Ryota stepped in, froze the man on the spot, then opened the magic cart. Everyone was stunned by the sheer amount of bamboo inside. Ursa explained that the cart automatically calculates both volume and price, and the final result clearly displayed 8,400. The man attempted to attack Ryota, but Ryota knocked him to the ground effortlessly, drawing applause from the crowd. Ryota then assured Ursa that he would always protect her if she was ever in danger. After that, Ryota and Emily continued gathering bamboo and hunting bats until their earnings reached 200,000, an amount sufficient to buy a new house. Ryota bid farewell to the old home, while Emily suggested keeping the rental contract in case they ever needed to return. They moved into the new house. Emily prepared breakfast, and a blue-haired girl suddenly appeared. The day eventually ended with lunch. Meanwhile, Suda was training inside the dungeon, fighting mummies and discovering that his power had reached rank S. He began focusing on increasing his speed. After training, he encountered Nab, who asked for a bare-handed match. Suda accepted and emerged victorious. The crowd was shocked by the outcome, and Nab acknowledged Suda's strength, revealing himself as the leader of the strongest group in the city. Nab requested a second match, but Suda refused. When Nab attempted to attack anyway, Suda blocked him with ease. Nab then invited Suda to join his family, but Suda declined. People began whispering that Suda might one day become the leader of the strongest family, yet he ignored the rumors. When Suda returned home and told Emily that he had chosen to live nearby because of her, she grew embarrassed. Eve entered and mocked him, while Emily said it was only natural since he had helped so many people. She called Suda a hero, leaving him feeling awkward and flustered. The following day, Suda entered the dungeon and encountered the princess's guards, where he saw Pandora boxes that automatically collect drop boxes. He understood that these had been installed to resolve misunderstandings regarding the princess monopolizing loot. Suda received 5 empty boxes for personal use. Using these boxes, Suda collected seeds, transformed them into monsters, defeated them, and gathered new ammunition, including fire bullets and a special type that particularly caught his interest. When he touched the final box, an intense cold surged through him. Emily told him that a magic storm was approaching. Uza explained that such storms prevent the use of magic, disrupt dungeons and the economy, and force people to remain indoors. A man suddenly appeared, desperately begging for help to rescue his friend trapped inside a mage-only dungeon. Uza explained that this dungeon could not be entered without magic. The man pleaded with everyone, but no one helped him, and he eventually collapsed in despair. Lip appeared suddenly, and Suda refused to give him money. He soon realized that the monsters inside the dungeon were highly resistant. Uza confirmed that ordinary attacks were ineffective. Suda decided to intervene and rescue the girls on the 3rd floor. Using fire bullets, he fought the monsters alongside Emily and Eve. Suda successfully protected Rose and saved the girls, then used a mummy bullet to heal Rose once the storm ended. Everyone thanked them, and Suda finally felt at ease. At the same time, Ryota was inside a shop selling watermelons when Erika arrived to evaluate the taste and requested an exclusive sales contract. The watermelons became a new, reliable source of income, and excitement spread among the people. Ryota was informed that he needed a license to explore floors below the 6th in Deimos. He brought back a watermelon from the 5th floor and obtained the license after proving his abilities. Later, Ryota and Emily hunted a massive tuna that transformed into a gorilla. Ryota defeated it swiftly, and it dropped pistols and ammunition. In Silicon, the Adelbert group had taken control of the 6th floor. Ryota confronted them, using a new healing bullet that transformed into a sleep bullet. Neptune offered assistance and was impressed by the new ammunition. In the end, Ryota and Emily continued hunting monsters to extract flowers. Inside the office, Ryota met the leader of Deus Sekiro, Clint Gray, and learned of his immense influence within Sekiro. Ryota was asked to participate in a battle against Hedo City in order to obtain a new Deus. With that, Ryota and Emily set out once more, gathering loot, exploring the desert, and venturing into new dungeon floors. Along the way, Emily drew a small sign of encouragement on the ground and wrote a message telling Ryota that he was capable of succeeding. After that, they set up a fully equipped night camp, all contained within a single bag. Ryota soon encountered a massive creature formed entirely of garbage and defeated it using his twin pistols. Moments later, he was caught off guard by the appearance of a green slime born from carrots. The three eventually reached Selene, where the residents of both cities cooperated together. A girl wielding fire magic burned the garbage, preventing it from transforming into monsters. People continued bringing in more trash, but the girl clearly looked exhausted and unable to keep going. Ryota noticed the signs of fatigue on her face, and Emily suggested that she take a proper rest. The girl, Celeste, admitted that she could not burn all the garbage at once. When she tried to use her magic again, she collapsed, and Ryota caught her in his arms. Celeste explained that she was being forced to continue working, then lost consciousness once more. Ryota stopped her from using magic and fired 2 healing bullets, which transformed into sedation bullets for her own sake. After Celeste woke up and left the tent, the garbage began turning into monsters and moving toward her. Ryota stepped in, killed the monsters with gunfire, and instructed everyone to gather all the trash in one place. Emily reassured Celeste, telling her to sleep properly, and the 3 of them then gathered around the table to eat. Ryota informed Celeste that the camp had been relocated to a closer area. As she started eating, she burst into tears from how delicious the food was. Ryota explained that drops were temporarily tax-free, while Emily added that this was the reason more adventurers and more garbage had gathered here. Ryota promised to help her, allowing Celeste to fall asleep feeling at ease. The next day, Celeste used her magic with far greater power after getting enough rest, astonishing Ryota. Celeste explained that the improvement in her strength came from proper sleep, and Emily warned her not to push herself again. Emily offered to let her stay in the tent until the mission was over. After some hesitation, Celeste agreed. Ryota decided to visit Cairo's headquarters to pay his respects, while Emily went shopping. In the shopping district, their attention was drawn to a famous jewelry store, where they saw a ring priced at 1 million. Meanwhile, the Duke received Ryota and introduced him to a new 10-floor plan for Celine. Vegetables were assigned to the odd-numbered floors, while meat was placed on the even-numbered ones, along with a competition for the most valuable drop within a limited time. The Duke advised Ryota to focus only on rare drops. Soon after, an announcement was made about the discovery of a rare drop on the first floor. A strange creature appeared, astonishing everyone present. The Duke introduced the turbaned man as Harford, with Eugene, a first-class adventurer, standing beside him. He explained that Eugene had been brought in to prevent the extraction of rare drops from plant-type monsters. Ryota fired at the creature, slicing it in half, but it immediately regenerated. Harford explained that the creature could only be killed by destroying its core jewel. Eugene revealed that he knew the jewel's location and attempted to finish the monster. At the last moment, Ryota fired a ricochet bullet that struck the jewel, killing the creature instantly. The Duke congratulated Ryota, and the rare drop became theirs. After returning to Woodok, the Duke presented Ryota with an enormous monetary reward and advised him to safeguard it carefully. He explained that the amount was appropriate for Ryota's contribution, as well as the soybean sprouts he had obtained, which Ryota had the right to exchange at the trade center. The Duke then bid Ryota farewell, while Ryota stood stunned by the sheer size of the reward, far beyond anything he had ever imagined. That night, Ryota returned to the tent, where Emily welcomed him warmly. He told her that the day had been exhausting due to the difficulty of the mission. He explained that an adventurer affiliated with HIT, ranked F, had tried to interfere with their efforts to secure rare drops, but he had dealt with the situation effortlessly. He apologized for coming back late, then presented Emily with a gift. When she opened it, she was stunned to find the expensive ring they had seen that morning. Ryota revealed that he had received an additional reward and used it to buy the ring for her, gently placing it on her finger. Emily burst into tears of joy and thanked him from the bottom of her heart. After that, they headed into the dungeon and checked the evaluation screen. Emily was shocked to see that all her stats had increased by 1%. Ryota explained that the ring was the reason. Curious about its effects, he decided to test it in the desert despite its high value. A massive monster appeared, and Ryota defeated it, then retrieved the ring. It turned out that the ring's effect had grown even stronger. They moved to another location to test the ring again. A giant tree-like creature called Treant appeared, and Emily crushed it with her hammer. The drop turned out to be a chicken breast, which delighted her greatly. It became clear that her animal drops were specialized in the poultry category. Suddenly, a massive explosion shook the area, and a gigantic rare monster appeared. It launched a powerful attack that sent Emily flying. Ryota reassured her that she was fine, and prepared himself for battle. At that moment, the mustached group leader arrived. Ryota briefly considered the potential reward, then decided not to claim the kill alone. Emily charged in first, with Ryota joining her attack. Together, they defeated the monster swiftly and immediately moved on to search for more drops. Ryota returned the ring to Emily and thanked her. She teasingly reminded him of the words he had said the night before. Later, Ryota thanked the mission supervisor. The man explained that the strategy had been proposed by his partner. A new challenge soon emerged with the arrival of hetero substitutes and an increase in their numbers on the odd-numbered floors. Ryota suggested countering this by collecting rare drops from floors 3, 5, 7, and 9. The supervisor confirmed that this would be enough to secure victory. Ryota then proposed raising the monster bounty to 10 million, and all parties agreed to the plan. They soon encountered a massive monster resembling a multi-headed serpent. Ryota recalled the rare monsters he had faced in the past and the valuable drops they yielded. Realizing that this creature had to be eliminated quickly, he drew his pistols and fired at all of its heads. The monster was slain, dropping a surprisingly modest item, Inanui mushroom. The supervisor announced the mission's success Quintuplets, and Ryota credited the Duke, who immediately left to report back to headquarters. At the same time, Ida recalled his previous life and a project that had once secured him a budget of 40 million. Ryota continued his journey in the magic cart, determined to earn even more money. Along the way, a boy appeared with a group of men and confronted him. The boy threatened Ryota, stating that all of them possessed F-rank drop rates. He ordered the activation of a magic circle that nullified projectile effects. The men attacked Ryota, but he used the magic cart to crush them, then followed up with sheer physical strength, knocking them down one by one. The boy was shocked when Ryota used pistols despite the magic storm. Ryota explained that he had used them before under similar conditions. He fired special bullets that drained their strength, leaving everyone astonished by his skills. Ryota then left the area in his magic cart. The boy muttered that he envied Ryota for having someone so important in his life. Ryota replied calmly that one day they might find someone like that as well. Meanwhile, Ryota returned to the tent late at night, where Emily was waiting for him. She had already prepared dinner, and Celeste was sitting with them at the table. Ryota felt a deep sense of happiness at being back beside Emily, and he noticed the large amount of food she had made. Celeste commented that Ryota had done an excellent job. Ryota explained that ownership of Sealand had not yet been officially decided, and that once the decision was finalized, they would be able to head to Sekiro without any worries. Emily then served a cake she had baked over the campfire. Celeste was astonished by it, while Ryota gently told her not to think too deeply about it. The next morning, Ryota watched Celeste burn garbage using a powerful fire spell. However, after her magic was completely depleted, she collapsed from exhaustion. Ryota caught her in his arms and healed her with a healing bullet. Celeste's face turned red with embarrassment when she realized she was being held, and she quickly pulled away, trying to calm herself. Ryota asked her why she had used such a powerful spell despite the small amount of trash. Celeste explained that Inferno, a third-tier fire spell, was the only one she could use, and that she was unable to cast first or second-tier spells. When more people brought additional garbage, Ryota burned it himself using fire bullets, and told Celeste that he would help her from now on, since his mission had ended. She thanked him sincerely. The following day, they noticed that the garbage had accumulated in an unusual way. Celeste explained that this was because a dungeon master had appeared. Emily clarified that the dungeon master was the ruler of the dungeon, appearing once every few months. No one was allowed to enter until it was defeated, which was why everyone was living in a state of tension. Celeste grew visibly distressed upon hearing this, but Ryota told her to rest and promised that he would take care of everything else. He insisted, worried that she might collapse again from exhaustion. Ryota then asked Emily to look after Celeste, and Emily led her away. The next day, the situation with the garbage remained unchanged, but Emily reassured everyone that the specialized team would move soon. Ryota decided to investigate the situation himself, believing that knowing how things would end would ease Celeste's worries. While he was away, Celeste asked Emily why Ryota was so kind to her. Emily replied that this had always been his nature ever since Sekiro, and that he simply could not ignore people who needed help. Celeste then realized that Ryota might leave once his mission here was complete. Ryota arrived at Servette headquarters and noticed Neptune there. The Duke explained that Neptune's group had been assigned to deal with the dungeon master. Ryota urged Neptune to hurry and defeat it because a close friend of his was caught in the crisis. However, Neptune explained that there was a problem. The Duke revealed that a contract with Hidero required cooperation between the two cities whenever a dungeon master appeared, but Hedo was deliberately delaying the operation. One of Neptune's team members added that allowing the dungeon master to remain longer could alter the dungeon's environment and its drops, something Hedo was intentionally aiming for. Ryota offered to intervene personally, but the Duke refused, explaining that the rules only allowed a party of 3 or more adventurers of rank A or higher to confront a dungeon master. Ryota asked to cooperate with Neptune, but Neptune declined due to his obligation to the joint force, adding that the other adventurers lacked ambition. Ryota returned to the tent, where Emily declared that she wanted to go with him to face the dungeon master. Ryota explained that 2 people alone would not be enough. At that moment, Celeste announced that she would join them as well. When Ryota asked about the garbage, she assured him that she had already found someone to handle it while she was away. After some time, Eugene arrived, and Celeste confirmed that he was the person she had meant. She explained that he had not come to apologize for what happened previously, but had only agreed because she had offered him compensation. Ryota wondered whether Eugene could handle the situation alone, before noticing that other adventurers with F-rank drop rates were assisting him. Emily suggested that those adventurers handle the situation there, while the 3 of them headed into the dungeon. However, Ryota explained that entry required 3 people with classified stats. Celeste revealed that her intelligence and willpower were ranked A, and that her stats were sufficient to allow Ryota to enter despite her weak drop rate. She stated clearly that she only wanted to help him. They entered the first floor, and Ryota noticed the absence of monsters. Emily explained that the presence of a dungeon master causes monsters to stay away, which is why it must be defeated quickly. The dungeon master appeared, and Celeste identified it as bicorn. Emily attacked it, but a barrier blocked her strike. Ryota then supported the attack, while Celeste restrained the monster with her magic, allowing Ryota to destroy the barrier using dual gunfire. Emily struck the monster, after which bicorn reactivated the barrier. Ryota instructed them to repeat the same sequence. Outside, the Duke and Neptune realized that Ryota had entered the dungeon and considered it dangerous due to bicorn's power. Ryota's party continued fighting. When bicorn used an area of effect spell, their stats dropped by 2 ranks, causing Celeste's magic to be completely depleted. Ryota told Emily to take care of Celeste, and told Celeste that she had done enough and that her life mattered more than anything else. She realized that no one had ever said that to her before. Even so, Celeste used her magic one final time to remove bicorn's barrier. Ryota then used Emily's hammer to knock the monster down and destroy its horns. Ryota told Celeste that they had succeeded because of her, then handed her the drop. When she hesitated, Emily encouraged her to accept it. Celeste discovered that the horns allowed her to use first-tier magic without limits. Ryota explained that they had agreed the drop would be hers. She burst into tears. Ryota informed the Duke that he had dealt with the dungeon master. The Duke was shocked and ordered that all adventurers be informed immediately. Members of Neptune's group praised Ryota's achievement and commended his companions. Ryota noticed that Neptune was absent, as he was speaking with Harford, and acknowledged that Neptune had lost the chance to fight alongside him. Later, Celeste was seen using first-tier magic to burn garbage, expressing her surprise at her new ability. Ryota told her that the dungeon now belonged to Sacro and that his mission there was complete. When Celeste asked when he would leave, he replied that he would depart the next day. He then invited her to join him, explaining that he was considering forming his own party. Celeste accepted immediately, and Emily joined as well, saying that it sounded fun. The scene shifts to Eve, who is eating an ordinary-tasting carrot, wishing for the return of the carrots that Ryota used to bring her. In the market, Celeste appears with striking beauty amid the crowded city of Seiro, while Ryota and Emily stand beside her. Ryota asks about Eve's condition. Suddenly, a girl named Arisa appears. Ryota greets her and introduces her to Celeste and Emily, then announces their intention to form a team called Ryota Family. Arisa is displeased by the idea, but admits that she has heard many stories about Ryota's exploits. She asks him for a favor related to the Harvest Festival, then leaves in a hurry. Ryota asks about the festival, but Emily does not know the details, and Celeste suggests postponing the question. Later, Ryota moves to a dungeon to increase his speed with the goal of reaching rank S. He fights several battles starting from the 4th floor and succeeds in clearing them. He then returns to Emily and Celeste and tells them that he placed the seeds he collected inside a box. Celeste becomes uneasy, and the box suddenly transforms into monsters, frightening her. Emily reassures Celeste, while Ryota takes care of defeating the monsters and collecting sealed bullets. Celeste asks him not to tell anyone about what happened. A fire breaks out on top of a building, and the three rush toward the source. A passerby warns them that a rare drop has turned into a wild monster. The monster appears, and each of them prepares to fight. Emily confronts it with her hammer, but the monster is stronger than her. Ryota intervenes, throws the monster into the air, and uses the sealed bullets to bring it down with 2 shots. The drop falls in the form of a small box. Emily is relieved that she is unharmed, but she is saddened when she sees that her hammer has bent. Ryota reassures her and promises to get her a better hammer. However, when she tries to fix it, it ends up breaking completely. Elsewhere, Eve learns of Ryota's success in defeating the monster and is pleased by the news. The next morning, the three meet the weapons merchant Smith, who offers Emily a new hammer for free after hearing what happened. He explains that Ryota family has become well known and that they have decided to support them. Emily is delighted by the gift and grows eager to use the new hammer. Later, Ryota returns to the dungeon and asks about airboxes. He is told that demand has declined due to the reduced influence of Princess Margaret. Ryota suggests alternative items to sell and shifts his idea towards selling rings, which impresses the merchant with his insight. Their conversation is interrupted by screams near Princess Margaret. Ryota intervenes and saves her from monsters, and she rewards him with the first ring of appreciation, which he accepts. Meanwhile, Emily and Celeste discuss the details of the new hammer with Smith, who assures Emily that she will receive an even stronger version for free. Eve storms into the room angrily, asking about Ryota and the carrots. She is told that he is in Neon Honium and heading to Arisa's shop, and she rushes off immediately. Ryota arrives at Arisa's shop, hands over the drops, and asks about the Harvest Festival request. Arisa asks him to collect rare drops that are difficult to obtain and gives him a list along with 40,000. Ryota is surprised by the small amount, but Arisa explains that delays in the financial cycle have reduced the circulating lord house, making the amount reasonable. Ryota begins the task by turning a leaf into a wild monster that transforms into a terrifying bird. After a chase, he manages to defeat it and obtains a drop that increases his plant extraction rate by 3 ranks for 10 minutes. Afterward, Eve appears, hugs Ryota happily, and asks him for some carrots. They eat together. She tells him that she left her team due to differences in taste. She only wanted carrots, while the others wanted different drops. A defeated wild monster appears and transforms into a small child, followed by another monster. Eve defeats it, and the child asks her to teach him how to hunt monsters. She agrees. The two hunt another monster that turns into carrots, and the child suggests sharing them. When he tastes them, he finds them delicious, which changes his view. Eve later tells Ryota that she came to love carrots because of that encounter, and that she is now searching for delicious carrots. Ryota comments on how strict her former team was, and she replies that her rank D drop rate often causes her to obtain poor quality carrots. After that, Ryota took out a small bottle he had obtained from a monster and asked Eve to drink it. She did, and felt a clear improvement. Ryota explained that raising her drop rate to rank C could allow her to reach rank A, which meant better carrots. A slime appeared nearby, so Ryota asked her to fight it. She defeated it. It turned into carrots, and she enjoyed the taste. Ryota told her that if she wanted more, she could join his team. Eve accepted happily. Ryota then returned home to Celeste and Emily. While Emily was checking the new hammer, everyone was surprised when Eve arrived with Ryota. Eve announced that she had joined Ryota family, and they welcomed her warmly, celebrating the new member. The next morning, Ryota woke to find Celeste asleep at the table, clearly exhausted. Emily explained that she had a headache caused by the magic storm. Celeste said that magic storms cause her heaviness and chest pain, but that she would recover once it ended. Ryota decided to delay going to Deus and suggested looking for a large house to reduce the storm's effects, wondering if such houses existed. They went house hunting and entered a large home whose owner welcomed them. Celeste noticed that her headache disappeared as soon as she entered. She explained that some houses absorb negative energy and convert it into positive energy, and the owner confirmed that the house was specially built to resist magic storms. Emily liked the large kitchen, but they were shocked to learn that the rent was 400,000, far above market price. Ryota said he did not mind as long as Emily and Celeste were comfortable. The next morning, Ryota stood with Celeste by the window. She told him she was fine and that she had cleaned the entire house. Ryota was surprised by how clean it was, and Emily explained that Celeste had done everything herself. The rabbit-eared girl approached and asked for carrots, then explained the day's plan, hunting rare monsters on floor 7 of Tilo, where carrots could be found. Before leaving, Emily announced that breakfast was ready. That night, snow fell around them in Snow Deus, an area where some floors have constant snowfall. They met a strange man speaking to young dragons, praising their endurance and encouraging them to protect their homeland. Ryota was unimpressed and thought it was an act, until Emily warned him of an approaching monster. Ryota shot the monster with his pistol, but it had no effect. He tried again without success. They realized that a fire slime can only be defeated near death if attacked by another person. Celeste intervened with strong fire magic and defeated it easily. Emily told Ryota to leave this floor to them. When another fire slime appeared, Emily and Ryota defeated it quickly. Emily noticed the high quality of the onion drop and decided to cook with it, but a rare blue fire slime suddenly attacked Ryota and knocked him down. Ryota stayed calm and formed a plan while Celeste warned of the monster's danger. She said she had fought this type before. The rabbit-eared girl attacked first, and Ryota finished it with precise shots. The monster dropped a gem that reflects some attacks. Ryota tested the gem on floor 2 of Tilo and saw that slimes were defeated automatically, but he preferred manual combat for speed. He later sold the gem to Uza for 3 million, who explained that prices were high due to the Harvest Festival. The team left Swallow's gratitude. In a shop, a girl asked to join several teams but was rejected. Ryota moved to floor 5 of Neonhonium and fought a fast red skeleton, discovering that seeds on this floor boost MP. Ryota began wondering about learning magic. Celeste explained that most people learn it by leveling up, but he would need a magic fruit. Ryota transformed the fruit into Steri, which became a metal monster resembling him by 80%. He defeated it, and the fruit returned with 2 magic circles. He ate it. Later, Emily discovered that Ryota had learned 2 spells, Wind Cutter and another strange one he decided to test. Ryota used a binding spell on a slime, and Emily finished it, increasing the drops. Ryota thought the spell was limited, but Emily and Celeste explained that it helps the team level up. Ryota finally realized that he had learned a support spell for his companions, and that made him happy. In the city, Ryota noticed that Uza was carrying many items, so he helped her and walked with her to Swallow's gratitude. There, he saw a girl looking for companions. Uza explained that everyone rejected her because her maximum level did not exceed level 2. Just as an elderly adventurer was about to accept her, Ryota stepped in and announced that she would join his team instead. Excitement spread immediately when Uza presented it as joining the famous Ryota family, and the old adventurer withdrew. Ryota asked the girl if she truly wanted to join. She agreed, introduced herself as Alice, and he took her to Neonhonium to see her real condition. Ryota discovered that Alice was still level 1 with very weak stats, yet he decided to start with her from the first floor. Alice surprised him by saying she was born inside a dungeon, and that she could sense monster locations. She led him to a group of skeletons. Ryota bound them, and asked her to defeat them with a stone, which she did, though her stat growth remained limited despite leveling up. Alice insisted on returning deeper inside and mentioned Bonsi, saying he always urged her to advance. She asked Ryota to capture a specific skeleton, which turned out to be Bonsi himself. After defeating him, he shrank into a small skeleton, and Alice treated him as a new companion. She later mentioned a slime named Giggly, explaining that it healed when it became smaller. Using Bonsi, she defeated Giggly, shrinking it as well. Ryota found her way of naming Strange, but she thanked him for helping her gain friends. Ryota brought Alice home, where everyone was eating carrot burgers made by Emily, which Eve enjoyed. Celeste liked Bonzi and Giggly and tried to pet them, but they panicked. Ryota introduced Alice to the group and asked if anyone objected to her joining. Eve asked if Alice liked carrots. When she said no, Eve agreed, relieved they would not fight over carrots. Ryota declared the addition of a new ally. Later, the team gathered many enhanced bullets, but a cry for help interrupted them. Ryota rushed over and found a monster that had escaped from a cage. He knocked it down with a kick and carried a frightened girl to safety when it rose again. Emily attacked, but the monster kept growing stronger, as if absorbing damage. Neptune and his companions arrived. He mocked Ryota, accusing him of cowardice, but Ryota answered firmly that protecting the city required cooperation. Neptune agreed and ordered Leal and Ran to support Ryota, granting him large wings that allowed him to fly, a power of Neptune's family. The joint attack began. Ryota restrained the monster with his gun, Emily struck it with her hammer, and Neptune finished it. The monster died. The girl's mother thanked them deeply, warning her daughter not to wander alone again. The girl thanked Ryota and said she wanted to become an adventurer like him when she grew up. Ryota smiled and told her he would wait for that day. At that moment, Celeste and Eve returned from Deimos, surprising Ryota. They explained that they had taken a short break after hearing that Ryota and his companions had fought a powerful monster and won. Eve said the magic cart was full of carrots, while Ryota explained that Neptune's group had helped, and that defeating monsters was simply part of their work. He added that Neptune had invited him to join his group after learning that Ryota's companions were his family, and that he would think about it. They talked about the new cooperation and becoming part of a larger team, agreeing that teamwork had made them stronger. Celeste expressed her happiness that everyone was safe and said she was ready to face any monster with them in the future. Alice, exhausted from fear and running, grew hungry, so they decided to go to the Harvest Festival to eat from the stalls and enjoy the rest of the time together. At the festival, the group enjoyed games and food, and were surprised to see Eve eating something other than carrots. She explained that rabbits can eat meat as well. Alice pointed out a stall selling carrot-based food, and Eve praised her taste. Ryota encouraged everyone to try different foods without interfering in each other's choices. While walking around, Alice warned them about nearby monsters. Ryota realized that stray monsters had increased in the city. Celeste explained that a nearby arena had festival goods turning into stray monsters, and that defeating them granted a rare item as a reward. Oda decided to join the challenge and asked Emily to partner with him, while Ryota chose Celeste, saying she was best at gathering information and understanding monster behavior. Ryota reassured Celeste that his choice was practical, not emotional, despite her slight disappointment. They entered the arena to cheers. Celeste attacked the slimes with unusually strong magic, and Ryota noticed her improvement before finishing the monster with his pistol to loud applause. He explained that large gut slimes require 2 fighters, thanked her, and she said she wanted to become stronger and more useful like Emily. Ryota told her she already was. That evening, Ryota family gathered and talked about the fun of the Harvest Festival. Celeste asked about the rare item they obtained from the arena. She took it out of her bag, and Ryota revealed it was fireworks. They lit them together and enjoyed the brilliant sight, something Ryota never thought he would experience again. After the fireworks, Ryota noticed Alice was missing. Her eyes changed slightly as she said she felt someone calling her. Ryota followed and checked on her. She said she was fine, and that the call came from Neonhonium. Celeste wondered if there was another monster to befriend, and Eve got excited about the idea of a monster that produces endless carrots. They agreed to search the next day since it was late. The next morning, Ryota met an official who told him that all Damas expeditions had stopped since the previous night, and that drop production in Servuma had completely halted. The official admitted the situation was serious and unclear and asked Ryota to investigate, as he was the only one capable of extracting rare drops from Sakura. Ryota realized he could not ignore it and decided to do everything he could to find out what was happening. In Damas, Ryota family continued working inside the dungeon. Emily defeated slimes easily, yet no drops appeared on the following floors, which was clearly abnormal. Nearby, two people spoke anxiously about disappearing drops and rising debts, worrying about their children and considering leaving to find other work. Back with Ryota family, Celeste explained that city prices were rising and people were buying only necessities. Emily feared a disaster if vegetables became unavailable. At that moment, Eve handed Ryota a slime and asked him to extract carrots. He said it was impossible, but when he shot it, carrots dropped. Ryota froze in shock, while Eve ate happily. He recalled Alice's words about feeling a call, and Emily's remark that Damas was useless without drops. Ryota rushed to Neonhonium, first floor, realizing this might not be an isolated case. If all Damas were affected, Alice might be right. He reached the fourth floor and met the girl. Enraged, he aimed at her, believing she was the cause, especially after learning she was the lover of Neonham Damas. He fired, but the attack failed, and she countered, knocking him down. He realized his attacks had no effect. He kept fighting. Twin pistols failed again, and he was struck hard. He switched tactics, used green bullets, severed her legs, then her arms. Ryota declared he understood her nature and used a special bullet that reduced her speed and power to his level. Once weakened, he struck her directly. She grabbed his arm, he headbutted her, and both fell. Ryota stood, fired 3 shots into her head, and killed her. Moments later, he collapsed unconscious. Hours later, Emily arrived and woke him. He explained his body was ruined. He loaded a healing bullet, asked her to shoot him, and stood up again. He thanked her, saying he could not have survived without her. Emily placed drops at his feet and told him monsters were dropping loot again thanks to him. Ryota had saved the city, but always pushed himself to the brink. Emily cried, saying she had never met someone so kind. Ryota replied calmly that it was his duty and that he wanted everyone to live happily. He gave her bean sprouts and asked her to eat and make coffee for the beautiful policewoman he would introduce. She agreed, smiling. After she left, Ryota noticed a ring on the ground and remembered it was a drop from a previous dungeon boss. The scene shifted as Ryota and Emily exited the lair. Their companions scolded him for risking his life repeatedly. He apologized, explained the danger, and promised harsh training so they could fight beside him. Later, the island girl said she wanted carrots. Ryota assured her he would provide them. He returned to the lair wearing the ring, which gave him power to face anything. Skeletons appeared in large numbers. Ryota destroyed them all, then used the ring to extract 10 crystals from their remains. Empress Margaret and her soldiers approached. Her aide asked Ryota to help fight dragons in the lair. Despite Margaret being rank 99, she could not face them alone. Ryota noticed her level rose slowly while her abilities stayed the same. He asked her to hold out her hand, placed a crystal in it, and her level rose instantly. Repeating this, he realized the ring converts excess EXP into crystals at max level. Margaret thanked him deeply and offered rewards and her first rings, but he politely refused. Afterward, Ryota bought all available bean sprouts and carrots from vegetable merchants. He gathered his companions and said he would raise their levels. Celeste initially feared becoming stray monsters, but Ryota revealed his plan, using the ring to turn excess EXP into crystals for everyone. They began. Ryota turned bean sprouts into small slimes and killed them one by one. Each slime produced crystals. Emily and Celeste collected them. Whenever Emily touched one, it vanished and her level rose. Everyone was stunned, realizing Ryota was not just an adventurer, but a rare existence. At the same time, Eve stood nearby, silently watching Ryota, eagerly waiting for what he would do next. She cared about only one thing, getting delicious carrots. That night, Emily checked her stats and found she had reached the maximum level, with a slight increase in her drop rate. Celeste then checked hers and was shocked to see her MP had also reached its maximum. Both thanked Ryota sincerely for everything he had done. Emily voiced her concern that Ryota himself showed no visible EXP despite all his efforts. He explained that he does gain experience, but not as numbers. It turns into deeper understanding and real experience, and he now has a tool that allows him to share that experience with others. Ryota believed that everyone reaching the level cap meant their family was ready for the next stage. The next day, they walked through the city with a clear sense of achievement. People spoke admiringly of Ryota family, seeing them as a special team. They talked about Emily, the hammer user with her own weapon supplier; Celeste, the calm mage known for gathering information; Eve, the rabbit fighter who drew attention by joining them; and Alice, who amazed everyone with her ability to command monsters. Ryota had formed a truly exceptional team. Alice explained that legally, one dungeon license license was enough for the whole party, but Ryota felt it would be better for everyone to obtain their own licenses. That day, they decided to get licenses for Emily and Celeste so they could explore deeper into the 5th floor. Ryota trusted their abilities and saw it as training for Alice. Eve simply said she already had a license and only needed carrots. They took the skill tests and broke records, reaching the maximum levels. That evening, Emily and Celeste proudly announced they had obtained their licenses. When Alice asked about the next step, Ryota said they would work individually for a while, then regroup later. He explained that hunting separately would maximize their strengths and reveal true profits. He assigned specific carrot types to each person to raise drop rates and told them not to overwork themselves. What mattered was effort and always eating lunch and dinner together. Everyone went to their hunting areas and returned that evening with results. Eve earned 120,000 in 6 days. Emily reached 160,000, her best so far. Celeste and Alice each earned 215,000. Then Ryota revealed his total, 1,560,000. Silence followed. He added that working together, they could reach nearly 2 million in a single day. When asked what he planned to buy, Ryota said magic carts for everyone. At the shop, he placed one of his special bullets into a cart and activated it. The bullet came out transformed into carrots. He explained this would let anyone trapped in a dungeon keep hunting without returning. At the shop, the receptionist remembered their record and had logged 16 trips. She was even more surprised when Ryota credited her. Uza encouraged him to keep going, which made him happy. When asked about continued cooperation, Ryota agreed, thanking her. Later, he announced that Uza had officially joined Ryota family to everyone's delight. A welcome party was held. A young man and 2 girls arrived uninvited, asking to join. Emily welcomed them, saying more guests meant more joy. Before entering, the doorbell rang, and Ryota was surprised to see Princess Margaret, who thanked him and gave him flowers. More guests arrived. The magic cart shop owner and his daughter, and a bald man carrying a box of sugar cubes, thanking Ryota for defeating the demon lord. Inside, Eve excitedly declared that the real celebration had begun. At that moment, Ryota reflected on his journey in this new world, realizing how fortunate he was to have built this unique family and share life with them. And thus ends Ryota's story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in a new story. Goodbye.